Okay, then I'm going to call the meeting to order at 4:30.
No, I was just gonna say.
And I'm going to ask for a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the United States of America
and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank
Hi,
you.
Charlene.
I think we should have some conversations before we can think about if we have multiple processes, what some ideas are for where we might go with the harmonization, because I think we have to kind of think out pros and cons of what direction we're going to run before the blueprinting is weekend.
Is that us or is that?
Somebody
okay.
else?
it's on Kent.
I mean, we may
Okay.
not know everything, but
Thanks,
Okay.
Kent.
Thank you. Barbara, could you call the roll, please?
Yes, Laurel Anderson,
Here.
Charlene Peterson,
Here.
Maureen Bova,
Here.
Suzanne D'Onofrio is not coming, and Kathleen McGannon is going to be late.
Okay, I'm going to open the floor for resident comments. Bill, it looks like there's one person on by phone.
Yes, if any resident would like to speak, you can indicate by clicking the raise hand button at the bottom of your screen. If you're on the phone, press *9.
So
Okay.
whoever's on the phone, go ahead, please.
You'll have to press *6 to unmute. You should be all set.
Hello,
Hello,
please identify yourself.
Mark Esposito.
Hi, Mark. Would you like to share something with us?
I'm just gonna listen at the moment right now.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mark.
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna, I don't see anyone else. Nope, just us. Okay, I'm going to close the resident comments. And I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the minutes of the April 27th board meeting.
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
That was a motion by Charlene and a second by Maureen.
I don't think Maureen can do that because she was not there.
Oh, I wasn't there last
Okay,
month, right?
I will make I will second the motion.
Okay.
Thank you, Barbara. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to call for a vote. Can I actually call for the vote? Because I may not have a quorum for the vote. If Maureen has to abstain.
Oh, right.
Good question. You may have to wait.
Yeah.
till Kathy.
So Charlene, would you do me a favor and withdraw your motion?
Yes, I withdraw my motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you. And we're going to hold open the approval of the April 27th minutes to the next board meeting.
Laura,
Okay.
would you like a motion now to amend?
Oh, yes, I apologize.
Agenda?
Yes, yes, thank
Okay.
you.
I'd like to make a motion, although I guess we can't. No, Maureen's here, we can. All right. I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to move up discussion item 9G.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion passed. Okay, Kent, you're up. Kent? Harriet?
So Laurel, we're not going to do the treasurer's report, the executive director's report, everything else first?
No, I thought you wanted to move him up.
We wanted to move Kent up.
up for new business. But if you want to move from first, that's fine. Whatever is easier.
And it sounds like it might be good to, I mean, does he have to be in for the rest of the discussions?
No.
Okay. So is he there?
Yep, I'm here.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So, you did say you could hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. So we have, I'm assuming, because I don't have the agenda necessarily in front of me, we're talking about kind of an update of the Henry Stern Center construction development. Probably most of you know by now that all of the units and the bathroom changes have happened and have occurred. There's a couple miscellaneous things that need to be done, but for the most part, it is pretty much all done and moving forward. We're now moving into doing the boilers, and those have started. My guess right now is they're probably 50 to 60% done. So that's moving along well too. So that's just a kind of a global construction update. We have 3 different change orders that we wanted to kind of talk about and get approval to move forward for. I believe most of you have received the PCO log, so you can kind of see what that is. And then there's a few change orders that Harriet and I have approved over the last few weeks that are below the limits that were approved by the board last month that allows Harriet to approve this kind of the small potato stuff, not to waste your guys' time on those things. The first change order that needs approval, which is pre this, and I have, and that the board has
Okay, so can you?
Units that, sorry.
No, I was going to say, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the first one is really PCO number 7, correct?
Yep. Yes.
Okay.
The first one we're talking about is PCO number 7, which were a few units that had a vent pipe that conflicted with the control valves, which means they needed to move the vent pipes in order to make the tub into a shower. Way back in March, we identified 3 of those units. We then, I think it was a long list of different emails that went around to the board to kind of approve and on a per unit basis. We estimated that we were hoping that we would only get at the most 5 of those units. I'm happy to say only those first 3 that we identified are the only 3 that had the issue. So we would like to finalize that change order, which for the total of all 3 of them is $1,025.56, which is based on the per unit that we looked at before. Does anybody, do you want me to just keep going through each of these, or do you guys want to discuss each one as I go through?
Why don't we do a motion on, could you give us the amount again? I'm sorry, Kent, $1,002?
$1,025.56.
You want a motion, Laurel?
Yes, please.
I make a motion to approve PCO 7 in the amount of $1,025.56.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Maureen. All right, any discussion? Hearing none, may I have a motion? May I have a vote to approve? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. Okay, go ahead with 12, Kent, if you would. PCO 12.
Okay. So PCO number 12 is a little more conflicting, but it's an issue that, we just have to work through. That when we changed this, if you remember, the original bid documents were to put mini splits in each unit to change for AC and heat. That original documentation also changed various valves and thermostats within the units throughout the building. When the building went to VE, it seems like there's a conflict between the bid documents and what the contract documents are. And there are certain rooms, not units, because all the units and control valves and thermostats have been done at this point. But there's a few units, which is an office, a lounge, a nurse's station, and a craft room that aren't on the contract plans, but the engineer is saying that they're actually in the original bid plans. So we have a little bit of a discrepancy, and we're still kind of finalizing and working through that because the contractors are saying one thing, the engineer is saying the other. At the end of the day, you know, this is something that, this is one of the negatives of when you value engineer a ton of this. We need to do those valves because it's going to make just life easier for your maintenance crew and everybody, and just you know, a consistency of heat within the units of these 4 rooms. So while we're still debating this argument, which we're, you know, I'm kind of, you know, it's sort of the responsibility of the engineer and architect to kind of dig in if this is truly a conflict in documents and who's responsible for it. The contractor is arguing that they didn't have this in their numbers for the contract through the value engineering. I tend to believe them, especially since those documents don't show it, and that they were doing their best to value engineer, get us to a price that we could actually afford to make this move forward. My suggestion is while we keep debating this, because they're going to want to do this work within the next 2 weeks, but hopefully in the next few days we can resolve this conflict. I'm looking to ask for permission from the board to basically approve, as if we're assuming that the drawings are wrong and we have to pay for all 4 of these upgrades, and to basically approve a PCO not to exceed all 4 of them, which is $6,847.97. And if we're able to negotiate that down and we win part of this argument against the contractor, it'll only get less. We have sufficient contingency for this, as well as several of the other things we're going to talk about today. So I'm not stressed over the amount of money. We need to make sure that everybody's right, and we don't need to hurt the contractor if we don't have to. You know what I mean? If we can make this work. So, that's my proposal, is that you basically approve us up to the maximum of that number of $6,847.97, so that once we do clarify this, we can move forward and it'll only be less and it will not be more.
So Kent, this is Maureen. So what you're saying is if we approve this 6,800, it may not come out to 6,800. It may be less.
It could be less, depending on how, if we can fully convince the contractor and the architect and the engineer is right, maybe we only have to pay for 2 of them. Maybe we only have to pay for 3 of them. You know, you typically, if there is a dead heat and the contractor says, no, I only own 2, and the engineer says, no, you own all 4, what we may end up doing is saying, fine, we'll split the difference and we'll call it 3, and we'll be fair to each of you. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, this is a negotiation. That's what it comes down to. I don't want to pay
Seems
for any
they've
of
had
them,
a few problems with valves when it comes to this project.
It is the contract documents from the engineers. There is definitely some errors and some missing items for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Harriet, I don't think Charlene was privy to some of those emails from the architect. Could you share, because he seems to be of the opinion, well, go ahead. And
so the engineer/architect felt that they only missed 2 of them. So the 2 would be Daisy's office, and there's a little room called the nurse's office, and that's where the nurse used to be. He felt that he missed those 2. There's 2 rooms upstairs. One is an arts and crafts room, and one's like a den. The engineer architect felt that those 2 were included in the specs. The contractor and the people that are A&B Mechanical are saying no. We don't think so, but I was hoping that they resolve this today in some of those emails, but I know they're looking into it to see, you know, who's right, who's wrong, and how they're going to move forward with it.
Okay.
so just on a personal level, I am comfortable that Kent and Harriet will keep up the good fight on this. You know, you'll do what you can do for us, whether we pay for 2, whether we pay for 3. You know, it is what it is. And, you know, a lot of lessons learned on this.
Sure.
Right. So in any event, I'm pretty confident that you guys have been fighting pretty hard for us on this. So in any event, may I have a motion to approve on a not to exceed basis PCO number 12?
I make a motion to approve PCO 12 not to exceed $6,847.97.
May I have a second?
I will second that motion.
Any discussion? Hearing none, I call for a motion to approve. A vote to approve the motion. All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous, Barbara. Thank you. Okay, Kent?
Okay, I'm back. I don't know if you guys want, it's up to you. I'm gonna skip over the 3 or 4 that are below the threshold. If you want any information when we're done with the last change order that I need approval, we can go through any or all of those that you want to ask questions about. But you know, they're on the PCO log. You can kind of read what they are. They're mostly small potato stuff that need to get done, and we're approved just to move the construction forward. So the last PCO that we really need to kind of make a decision on, which is this is a good PCO for once, right? We don't have a PCO number, so don't look at it, you know, and mostly that's because I have multiple PCOs because I've asked the contractor many times to give me pricing on several different scenarios, and I'm trying to organize that. What we're doing on this PCO is that we basically, you know, we have a lot of contingency left over right now. And when we did the blocking for some of them, we had to cut holes in some of the walls in the hallways. We also had to cut some holes in the ceiling of the community room. That expanded our scope. Our dining room. I keep saying the wrong room. I apologize. The dining room. That expanded our scope into those areas, which means if we tried to go in and just patch and paint, that paint color may never match. You're going to see it. And to be honest, just over maintenance, you know, your hallways and the dining room need to be painted anyways. And so I am suggesting at this point, since we are far enough along through the boiler and I'm starting to feel much more comfortable where we at, we'll get to the boiler a little bit more, but I want to kind of give you the whole idea of the change order is we've asked for many different pricings for the corridor walls, the common doors, the common door frames, the dining room, on different levels, and then we have to obviously add the markup that the contractor requires, and you know they add up to a little over like $21,500, which is a big number. Okay, so don't fall off your seats. But we have that plus a lot more in the contingency, and I don't know if we want to go into the detail, but we have at least that plus double that on top of that. So we have a lot more left of money. Obviously, you know, if we give a little back to the state, that's great, but we try to spend it and use it in the building, and we feel this is a betterment in the building. It's something that needs to be done, and it's part of the global scope of what work we were doing, and we're not going out on a limb here. So I am suggesting I would like to go back to the contractor and basically say, you know, we want to do all that work, which means the corridor walls, patching, painting, cleaning them up, 2 coats of paint, all the common doors, all the common door frames, and the dining room, including the trim in the dining room, and 2 coats of paint on there. I want to basically say you need to go back to your sub, and instead of it being $21,500, I want you to do it at under $20,000. And then we can do the whole ball of wax, and maybe we can get it, you know, you can twist your sub's arm a little bit by a little bit of money to get us below 20. Not that we couldn't afford to do the 21, but it's more of a negotiation that let's try to get it down just a little bit. Other numbers that we got were the painting the stairs and the risers and spindles. We didn't really do any work in the stairs. We didn't affect the stairs. I have a hard time telling the state that we should use their money to paint something that we never actually went into. So I'm kind of taking that off the list. That's not part of this package. The one thing I've asked the contractor, because I am still a little nervous, but we still have a lot of contingencies left on the boiler. I've said I don't want to release this, even if the board approves it today. I don't want to release this change order until we at least have the initial inspection or some inspection from the building department to say, you know, now that the boilers are sitting there, you're piping them, we don't see any astronomical issue with anything, because with a building inspector, you never know. He could come in and say, I want 4 more sprinkler heads on top of all of these pipes, and there's nothing, you could argue it all day long that maybe it's not the code. At the end of the day, we're going to do what the building inspector wants us to do. Typically it's not worth the fight. So I would like the building inspector to kind of do a rough inspection of where they are right now before we start this painting activity. In the perfect world, if this was a longer job and we had more things going on, or let's say the fall, we would have said, let's wait till the boilers are 100% done, up and running and working, and then we could pull the trigger on this, because we'd be doing the units. At this point, PAC is trying to get out of there in 2 to 3 weeks. They are done with the units, and they will be done with everything else. So they are not going to want to stick around and just paint a bunch of things after the boiler's done. So that's why I'm trying to do the inspection at this point. If we waited, just so you have all the information, it's $4,000 a week for them to do their supervision. So it's in our best interest to use their supervision, use their bonding authority, and use everything they have right now that they're fully contracted in to do this change order. And so that's kind of my proposal, that we do a not to exceed $20,000 of paint work, and then it's up to Harry and I to negotiate that to get it to 20,000. But before we do it, we need to get a little more comfortable with the boiler later this week.
Thank you, Kent. So when Kent first, when I first saw this recently, I was actually not in favor of it because I have nightmares about the boiler. I'm sure you all do. Every time they open the wall, they open the floor, whatever, it's like, surprise. So I just thought to myself, wow, a surprise on the boiler is really something, like a word you really don't want to hear. And, you know, so it's made me really nervous. And the thought of agreeing to spend $20,000 when, God forbid, we might actually need that. But I thought Kent's idea about waiting until the building inspector comes in and sort of like, okay, hopefully that means they found everything that could be found and we'd know. So that made me a lot more comfortable, and it certainly makes sense for Harriet and Kent to be in a position to move ahead with this once the building inspector signs off. So I thought that was a really good option for us. Hey, Harriet?
And then if I may, Ken, we also talked about maybe doing in some phases, correct? That, you know, we could also maybe corridors and then, you know, maybe do the balance or so.
Yeah, the problem with the phases is if we're going to get this contractor to trim his number even a little bit, if we go into phases and he says, oh, well, I'm going to bring a bunch of guys here and do a few bit here, by the time we get comfortable to even do anything, I think we almost have to pull, you know, when I thought of that last week, I liked the idea, and we could still go back and we could say, you know what, maybe if we can't get that building inspector, maybe we could do a $10,000 phase, and that gets us all the corridors and move on. You know what I mean? And then we get that inspection and we could do that. So we could slice it in half and do something like that. But, you know, it is an option, I guess. Okay. It's awkward because we got 2 to 3 weeks to do this.
Yeah, you have to have it done all at one time.
Yeah, we have to also pick up the paint.
So yeah, our approval on the yet to be numbered change order would basically be contingent on after the building inspectors whatever inspects or approves, that we have the 20,000 remaining in contingency, and that you're able to talk to the contractor and get it down to 20,000.
Correct.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So
All right. Charlene
does
and
that-
Maureen.
Hold on one sec. So if the contractor won't go down to the 20,000, does that mean you cancel everything, or then you'll just do $20,000 worth of work?
I think what I would do is I'd say let's look at what could we do. Maybe we only need one coat on something.
Okay.
Maybe we could do this. I would trim the. We'll get it there. That it'll be very minimal scope change, if at all. I think it'll. We're not asking for a lot of money here. I think he'll get. It's worth. You know.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, there was
Well,
other
he
people
spent
talking about
6 months.
it's a lot of money for painting. I mean, it's probably a little high. And there was talk in the meeting about we should go out to bid. If we go out to bid, that means we got to go through the procurement process of the town. We don't want to go through that again. TAC could call another painter and try to get a number. But at the end of the day, the painter that's we said, oh, we want to go get another price. He's going to say, okay, I'm out of here. And to be honest with you, in the market, we're not going to find anybody cheaper that's going to gear up and do this.
Okay. So may I have a motion on this? Anybody?
Sure. I'll make a motion to approve PCTBA for painting projects up to $20,000.
I'll second that. I'm good at seconding. Well, I've been in on the discussions about the paint, so I know, yeah,
Okay.
not to exceed.
Any discussion? Hearing none, I'd like to call a vote on the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, Barbara. Unanimous. Thank you. Thank you, Kent. Anything else?
One thing I wanted to add to that too is when we do get this building inspector inspection, even though he may not officially approve it until it's finally done, when we get a sense of where he stands, I will probably most likely do a summary email and send it to Harriet that can be distributed to you. Just say, okay, we feel comfortable. These were his issues, or this is what he's happy about. We're going to go forward with the painting based on this. And we'll do something to kind of close it out so you know it's not just hanging out there forever, you know?
Oh, that's great. Okay, thank you, Kent. That's great.
definitely.
Okay. Are you all set, Kent? Does anybody have any other questions of Kent before we let him get back on the road? No?
Nope.
Nope.
All set? Okay. Kent, thank you so much.
Thanks,
All right, thank
Kent.
you all.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Okay. I'm going to go back then to the regular agenda, and treasurer's report and discussion of financials is up.
Okay. I'll give the financial highlights through April 30th. From July 1, 2020 through April 30, 2021, the overall gain of the Housing Authority was $201,234. Further, the operating gain before capital grants and depreciation was $106,070, of which $104,425 is attributable to the village and $1,645 to the congregate. For Stern Village, the current month's operating gain was $15,587, compared to the budgeted gain of $4,578. The higher than projected gain is due to lower than budgeted salary costs and no required repairs contracts this month. Rent revenues continue to exceed expectations, now $22,000 over budgeted amounts. For the congregate, the current month's operating gain was $6,608, compared to the budgeted gain of $301. The The gain represents allocation of additional subsidies awarded by the DOH to reimburse the program for losses incurred due to extended vacancies earlier this year. Otherwise, costs continue to fall within budgeted amounts, with gas utilities being the most significant over budget, $3,420, due to delayed replacement of the heating system. The overall cash position of the authority, including reserves, is $687,533, which includes $43,558 reserved for renovation costs at Stern Village. Construction payables total $30,202. You have a snapshot of the program balances. And down a little bit further, congregate payable to village increase represents March's cost share to be paid pending receipt of the DOH subsidy, totaling approximately $65,000. Funding is expected before the end of May. Excess cash at the village is $21,027. However, receipt of funds from the congregate would push the total to $49,293, which would slightly exceed projected funds available to be spent prior to year end. And then we have another snapshot of the tenants' accounts receivable, and the balances as follows for Stern Village and for the congregate. The balances show increases to tenant delinquent accounts from the beginning of the year, primarily by those that have since vacated the respective property. April 2021 balance includes credits due to prepayment of May rents posted April 30th. The average amount due upon vacating was $368 for the village and $828 for congregate as of April 30, 2021. End.
Okay, any discussion of the financials or the treasurer's report? I only have one question about the 65,000.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, will you be leaving part of that 65,000 in congregate rather than sweeping it all over so the congregate actually has some cash and doesn't have to keep borrowing from us? I'd honestly almost rather you keep the 65.
I know that they keep it instead of
I realize
paying us
it's like a
back.
stupid mindset trick, but
I know.
That's an unending balance.
it would make me feel better than looking at a $4,000 cash back.
Oh, and knowing what happens with the money on the other side,
Right.
you know? Well, the goal has been, and I think that's been part of our goals when we put this budget together, is to not increase that amount from the prior period. So the goal is to pay down to what we started with for the beginning of the year. Hopefully there's a little bit of excess. There's not going to be a lot, but we did budget to get $3 to $4 grand in extra cash. I know it's not a lot of money, but so I hope we can meet it. It looks like we should be able to meet that, you know, thanks to this extra funding from DOH. Without that, we wouldn't even be close, obviously. But so that's the goal. Pay down only what was spent this year, no more, and then put the rest in the reserves.
Right, because it certainly doesn't do Stern. It doesn't do the village a lot of good to have.
No,
Right, no, enough said. Yeah. Okay.
we know.
Okay, but I'm sure commissioners, you will agree with me that it'll be lovely to see 65,000 in cash in an organization this size. So it'll be like, whew. Okay, that's great. All right, thank you very much.
Absolutely. Easy.
Hey, there's so much on this, even I.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not going to finish that statement either. Okay. Any other questions on the financials? No? Okay.
No,
Harriet, your report, please.
Sure. So the community room is going to have a soft opening on June 1st. Everyone's very excited about this. Residents are aware of the rules. We're still requesting residents to wear masks, and we're limited to 15 residents at a time. Groups have called. We hope to get bingo back. The men's club is going to be in there. I do have a resident who wants to do an arts and crafts club, and she has all the materials for that. So it's very exciting. I can't wait to show you guys, what it looks like, because it really is beautiful. And it's nice to see so many residents walking and sitting outside with their neighbors now that the weather has been so gorgeous. I do want to talk to you about our maintenance crew. They're extremely busy working on apartments in the congregate and in the village. They're handling several work orders and emergency situations. Somebody's toilet isn't working, it might be overflowing, or they might have a leaky pipe. They also have vacations coming up, and they know that at least 2 people will be here when someone is out, besides doing the grounds. And again, we're on over 3 acres of property, and there's a lot of grounds work to do between the mowing, the weeding, the planting, whatever. So looking around the property today, walking around and seeing a lot of weeds coming up, and I think we even have maple trees coming out of some of our bushes. I really believe we need to do what we can to help the residents and make the property look as beautiful as possible, and even do some more planting. So I plan on hiring a part-time worker at a minimum wage for 20 hours a week for summer months. It's my understanding we can afford it. I talked to Jason about this, and it's really to assist maintenance with the outside work. We've had summer help in the past when it's needed, and for some reason, it's walking around today and talking to Jeff, and he's frantic because there's a lot of work to do for them, and there's a lot on them right now. That I really think that if we can find some summer help, could be a college kid or a high school kid, and obviously they'll go through the whole process, the drug tests, whatever. I think that's what we definitely need here. If I may, all the rent recertifications have been completed. The new rent will start in July 1st. Stern Village residents were told via robocalls that they can pick up the recertification paperwork anytime. Every resident must have their rent recertification letters by June 1st. So if residents don't come for them, we're going to just put them in their mailboxes. If a resident has any questions about the new rent, they need to speak with me or Heather, and we'll review it with them. So some residents have, and they've come into my office, and I've actually gone over the entire way it's done, so they can see on the computer exactly what it is. And if I had to make some changes because, they gave me information, new information, I changed it for them. It's not a big deal. But this is something that we did it in 2019. In 2019, we used 2018 Social Security, whatever their income was. And now after 2 years, rent, it goes up, Social Security goes up. Some people don't have the type of medical allowances they had when they first did it. Some might have more, some might have less. The base rent, as you know, is for those under 500 base rent is only going up $10. For the people whose base rent was 100 or 110, 125, they're going up, calculating by 28% versus 27. They're still getting their utility allowances from us on a monthly basis. So we're just, doing this the way we're supposed to do it. So besides everything else maintenance is doing, starting in June, we're going to start doing apartment inspections. This is required by CHFA every year. Because of COVID, we couldn't do it last year. So we check on the mechanicals, we make sure the appliances are working, we check on the alarms, the condition of the apartments, we look outside, We just want to make sure that residents do not have an overabundance of items in their apartments. Their apartments are clean and they're not smoking or using candles, because as you know, that residue is very tough to get off the walls. We are in the process of installing additional radon mitigation units. The systems are going from the closet of the apartment through the attic. Letters have been distributed to all the residents who need it. We're giving them about anywhere from about a week's notice, if not a little more. What's really interesting, because you just never know. So for some units, when they started doing this and started digging, they found it, and they came to cobblestone. God knows why they found cobblestone when they started digging, but again, they had a, you know, it's taking a little longer to drill. You just never know when you start going through these things. Let's see, applications for Stern Village are still available. They must be postmarked no later than June 15th. We currently have 35 applications. It's also come to my attention that too many Stern Village residents are locking themselves out of their apartment after office hours. And they're asking the security guards to unlock their door. Once in a while, I understand, but if the same person is doing it 10 to 15 times a month, we have a little issue, because it's not fair. The security guard, when they're supposed to be manning the congregate, to go unlock villagers' apartments. So we are dealing with that with some of the residents that have been, we're doing that too often, and we're talking to them about them and giving them other ways of don't lock yourself out of the apartment.
So Harriet, just as a thought on that point, my mother in her later years had a challenge remembering to take her keys. And what we ended up doing is getting those bungee cord, little round things that you can
Their wrist.
Sell them for like $1 at the dollar store. And she would basically wear it all day. And it worked out incredibly well. I would suggest to you that perhaps take $5 out of petty cash and go buy 5 of those. And
I think you're right.
if you got some folks that are just chronically not remembering.
Right.
Yep.
Right, exactly.
Like all of us, you get used to having that little jingle jangle on your wrist, and who knows, maybe it won't work, but it might be worth a shot.
Right. And some residents do have the lanterns or so.
Yeah.
What's that lantern that they tie, and they have that too.
The lanyards, yeah.
Lanyard, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I know it's something. But anyway, so yes, we definitely have to do that.
Anyway,
And you might make a suggestion to those residents that drive, and if they have their car keys on a chain, they might want to put their house key on that same
right. The
thing,
problem is if they have their house key and their car key in the apartment, so.
I know.
But to have maintenance come, remember, anytime maintenance comes after hours, it's $3. It's 3 hours of time. So we do not want to do that.
No.
But it's not fair to the congregate of the guards either. So that's something that we're dealing with. That's about it for the village.
So I know Kathy was very concerned about the increase to some of the folks. And so rather than going over it here, I'm just going to ask if you would please, and I think you already are, putting something together that you can discuss with her. I think there are some folks that got much larger than they expected, and I understand the whole maybe fewer medical. But I do notice in your budget, was an implied assumption that your rent income was going to go up a combined of almost $40,000 over the budget last year. So I'm hoping most of that had to do with us allowing you to increase, for new people. And those were taken into your calculations. I hope that increase wasn't mostly due to current people paying way the heck more. So I just ask if you would, work with Kathy, the first selectman's, as the first selectman's office gets calls all the time. And it would be good for her to be able to explain to people either the process that they, need to do, or if perhaps they want to maybe they forgot to give you their medical bills and maybe they want to go get, but you know, you might want to give her enough ammunition that she can
Sure.
kind of assist people. So anyway,
Jason, do you have any thoughts of that?
Part of it's a challenge to identify or differentiate what the source is without going tenant by tenant, meaning making a report, because my expectations would be 95% of the residents would get an increase no matter what, just because of inflationary, right? The COLA increases to Social Security.
but
So
you're
if you
talking about what, maybe 2%?
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know, 2%, if they're paying 1,000, they're probably saying $20. That's higher than $10. Why did I get $20?
No,
Right. And I don't know. I haven't looked at that.
the people complaining, we're talking about 100 or more a month.
Right.
Wow.
So to think about it this way, the proposed rent increase on somebody paying is 3.7%. That's a 1% on the lowest percentage people paying. From going 27% to 28% of your income is a 3.7% increase. That shouldn't, you'd have to be paying $2,000 a month in order to get that. So it can't be the rent increase. I'm sure it would help. I mean, it's contributing, but there has to be something else on their own individual level, whether they're getting more income this year for whatever reason, or more likely that they had a change in health insurance deductions.
Right. Or for example, vitamins. The way CHFA, and we went through all the training, we can take vitamins, deduction for vitamins, as long as a physician provides us with some kind of a note that says, yes, my patient is allowed to take these vitamins. And sometimes vitamins, could be $6,000 a year or so for some residents. And I have gotten those notes from some people, which immediately help them immensely. But, we can't just, and over the counter, we look at them, so some people, but I have one woman that I went over with her and I said to her, you had no medical expenses. And she says, oh yeah, that's my fault. And she brought me in everything that she had so I can redo it for her. But, everyone is individual.
So
But,
do you have your list of tenants and increases on like a spreadsheet that you could sort and come up with anybody who got over, say, $50 a month increase? I mean, I think that, I don't know how many people that is, but I would think that's the population that might be challenged. And then perhaps those people just need a little extra help, maybe going back to CVS or, Walgreens or whatever, and to help them get that back down. That might calm everybody down.
I know when we put this together, when we first presented this, I did an analysis and I tried to project using past numbers that there was only 5 that would even go over the $35 mark, which we figured was on the high side, right? Of those 5, and I don't have the exact number in front of me. If you give me a second, I could find it. There was certainly nobody in the 3 digits. I think the highest one was like $58. And I'm not downplaying that might be, high for those that are in that position. I am surprised that there are those that are higher than that, I guess is my point.
Yeah. So if you could maybe, if it's as simple as sorting a spreadsheet and then just giving Kathy the list of whoever's over. And I'm just going to do like a cutoff of say 50, anybody over 50. And maybe Harriet, you could go over them with Kathy and just.
Absolutely. So I want to look at it too. All right. So that no problem. We'll get that straightened out. So thank you.
That's great. Thank you. Okay. Harriet, you all set?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So number 7, congregate updates and congregate energy enhancements.
So congregate, Daisy has 4 vacancies. They all should be filled by July 1st. She has 9 people on her wait list. In terms of the enhancements, there are 10 units that still need toilet covers. They have the sinks, they just need toilet covers, and those will be installed soonest. all 36,000 thermostats have been completed, as we talked about. Once the boilers are installed, the last step will be go back to the residence units to bleed the valves. So everyone will be getting, I mean, they're moving along very, very quickly, which is great. When I was in the boiler room, believe me, if I tell you the boiler room looks beautiful, it looks beautiful. These new machineries are just gorgeous.
As beautiful as a boiler room can work. I can tell you this as a side note. The men were so excited, including Jeff, as to what these new boilers look like. They didn't know that they made them like this anymore compared to what we have.
Right.
They are actually excited. I actually asked them, are they out polishing them or whatever, like they did with the tractor? But they were ecstatic about what they look like.
Right. So it's great because Fernando and Renee, they want to learn. So they'll go and they'll talk to the people who are doing the boilers. They want to learn everything about them. Not only that, PAC and the A&B are putting together a user manual that has every single thing in it, everything they need to know for the maintenance, because they're going to have questions on how they can fix it. But no one's leaving anywhere until maintenance knows exactly what to do and how to do it. We're also getting some volunteers for the congregate. I've been working with Massac High School for a long time. They gave us Tina, our volunteer extraordinaire, and also we had, unfortunately, until COVID hit, because now he can't come, we also had her son, Anthony. So starting starting tomorrow, we're going to have 2 young ladies and their coaches come to the congregate to help the residents engage in activities. They'll call bingo, they'll do some walking, they'll do some arts and crafts. So it'll be nice to see things getting moving again. And hopefully we can also get entertainment. We did have some, so the way the congregate rent is, they have the base rent, okay, which is pretty much you rent, that's what you pay to live in the apartment, which is really all the costs to run the congregate, you know, maintenance, the garbage fees, Daisy's salary, the elevator, the utilities for the common areas and kitchen. Now, again, there are a lot of residents congregates that do receive subsidies for the base rent. Then there's core services. The core services are their supportive services, which is the housekeeping, the food services, and the security service. Again, those are also subsidies to Department of Housing, and residents receive the subsidies for these. Then we have something called expanded core services. These are additional services that are paid by the Department of Housing for the congregants. Jason, you can jump in anytime. The congregants do not pay for these expanded core services, which means they don't pay for Paulette's time to help the congregates. They don't pay for when Tina Katz worked at the congregate. They didn't pay for her time. They don't pay for, we call it the Wellness Preventive Program, and that can include entertainment. Last year, we were told by DOH to use some of those funds for sanitation expenses to eradicate COVID-19 in the congregate. Since we did not have any entertainment left over, we're able to provide CVS gift cards in the amount of $40 to 32 residents. Because if we don't spend the money, it goes back. So that's what we did with the expanded core services.
I think what the residents is, Jason speaking, just to step in on that. I think what we've heard elsewhere is because the residents aren't seeing entertainment, they're saying, well, where's my money going? And technically it's really, it's the state's money. So if you don't spend it on something, it goes back. It's not necessarily the residents' money because it's not part of their rental budget or services budget. It's on top of it. It's an extra amount allotted by the state to perform such services. And unfortunately, in order to deal with COVID, they basically required you or allocated some actually additional funds, but basically said, we know you can't run some of these programs, but this is all the money you have and you have to provide and care for, you know, clean, et cetera. So that's where a lot of those funds went. So it's hard to kind of inform residents that, hey, it's not, you know, savings, you know, there's nothing that the program can kind of save for later. It's kind of either, so we try to do the best we can. We want to make sure it's spent, right? But you have to spend it within program regs. Has to be, meet the qualifications of wellness and preventive services type of thing. And that's probably the best we could have come up with, to be honest.
Are we planning to bring a wellness, some kind of wellness staffing back on board?
Yes, for next year's budget.
Yeah.
We'll have entertainment and, if we can,
Okay.
let's see how hopefully we'll have these volunteers through the entire school year. So let's see how they do. But Tina is wonderful. If any of you have been on Facebook, you've seen the amazing things that she does for our community. She even came Sunday. Every Saturday or Sunday, she comes and does something for the residents. She usually gives them cookies. This Sunday, she had ice cream for them. Yesterday, she does a walking program. She walked around the village with some of the residents. She's our gift. That's all I can say. She's just an amazing person, amazing family.
And that's volunteer on her part right now, right, Harriet? Yeah. Yeah.
Harriet, one question about our former tenant who moved to a nursing home and for whom we had that huge loss in revenue. Is that unit now re-rentable? Everything's
Yes.
out and we're good to go?
Yes, correct. I believe someone's coming in there, I think on the 1st.
I think it's June 1st, Harriet.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we weren't continuing to lose money on it.
No.
Okay.
No.
Did they ever give us any money back from the estate from that lawyer? No, I know. Yeah, I thought I'd ask.
I'm sure that spend down at the nursing home just took
Yeah, they're
every
not.
red penny. Yeah.
They don't care.
Okay, so Harriet, you're all set with that?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Unfinished business. So we have the discussion of the smoking policy.
No.
So,
If I may,
yes, go ahead.
I suggest that we have so much to cover, and I would like Kathy here for this. I suggest that we make it unfinished business for June, if you don't
I
mind.
was actually just going to say that both Suzanne and Kathy, neither of them are here. And,
Yeah, there's a lot.
and do you need a vote? I think we voted the last time based on the minutes. We voted, I think, to agree to the security deposit concept for new residents.
Right,
And I think what you were giving us is just a policy,
right.
which is sort of an internal document. So we know it's in place. We know you can go forward with it. Can we also have that vote in June on the policy?
Sure.
Yes.
Because new people coming in for July 1st, you have the authority to go ahead and hit them for the security deposit. Okay, all right. So if no one minds, then we're going to move both the discussion of the smoking policy and the security deposit policy to the June board meeting.
So if I may, Jason, that means that for anyone that's coming in for July 1st, we also have to set up a new bank account.
Okay. Can we clarify, because last meeting we tabled congregate. We're only talking village?
Village. Yep, just the village.
Just want to clarify.
Yep, for the village.
Well, that's a good point, Jason.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
For the village.
Yeah.
I think Kathy had said she wasn't comfortable saying that one yet. And I think she, I don't know if
Right.
table's the right term, but
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, that's actually under new business, but we can also table that for unfinished business. So the unfinished.
but we need
business-
to know.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
My suggestion is what's another couple residents? It's not going to make a huge, if we want everybody to participate and it has to be delayed a month, what's that really going to factor? It's really not going to factor anything. We're still taking steps in the right direction. What if we miss one or two residents?
So it would we would only be missing out on anybody in the congregate who signs a lease as of July 1st.
Right.
Yeah, so to your point, what is it? 2 people, 3 people? I don't know.
Maybe, right.
Yeah.
Right.
But
All
we
right,
still,
so I guess Harriet, let's just make sure then that that's on the agenda for, and should that be under unfinished business then? Because
yes.
we sort of were discussing it, I guess, right? At the last board
Yes.
meeting? Okay.
Yes.
We'll put it under unfinished for June.
All right, so the discussion of security deposit policy for incoming residents to the congregate will go into unfinished business
Right, for June.
for June. And then the security deposits for incoming residents to the village, I know that we had the vote for that. But again, I just want to make sure that we're going to have to set up another bank account.
For the congregate?
No, I'm talking about the village. Jason,
Oh,
no?
yeah.
No, I was referring to, I was shaking my head to Maureen. We're talking about the
Okay,
village.
So
Yeah, okay.
So people come in, they give us a 1 month security deposit. Incoming residents, whoever's listening, are coming in to the village, give us a 1 month security deposit. We're going to need to put in a separate dedicated bank account, correct?
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
Per tenant or just one big account that's
One
just
big
for
account.
deposits? Okay,
One big account.
okay. Okay. All right, so under new business. Discussion of additional THA money to spend on Stern Village and consideration of motion to approve spending.
So I spoke with Jason, and Jason, you wanted to discuss this a little bit?
Yes, but only to the effect of, is I think we had agreed that a couple more units were already decided on, so to speak, right, up to X.
Yeah. In the minutes, just to remind everybody, in the minutes of last month, motion was made by Mrs. Anderson to commit 45,000 to the rehab of 2 additional units. That was seconded and approved unanimously. Is that the money we're talking about now?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm saying based on this month's results, and possibly if we continue next month, we actually might have more than that.
Okay.
Which again is, I guess, is a good thing. I don't know if we need to bring that further, because I don't know that it's going to be, 90,000. But my discussion with Harriet was that either we just keep going. If you had approved 2, would you guys care if we said 3? It just,
Well, if you don't mind, let's formalize it then. There are enough commissioners here.
Right.
Can we just make a formal motion to approve the use of anything over the 45,000 up to, I don't know what the correct verbiage is on that, Jason, but whatever the excess is?
yeah, I suppose you could probably cap it because I don't see it going over 60. I don't know if that's easier to say it that way.
I mean, do we want to give anything back, or do we just want to make the motion that
True.
the entire excess?
yeah, that's what I say. You don't want to give it back.
Why not, right?
Yep, makes sense.
And it will only be used for rehabbing units?
Rehab, yeah.
Does that make sense? Do you at some point, are you only halfway through a unit and you have to stop?
I think, yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I think logistically, what's happening is basically we're going to try to do like spend this money first type of thing. We're already redoing units with the other funds.
Right.
That basically we're just saying we're going to commit these funds first, do those units, however many they can do, and then continue on with all the other funds.
Okay.
I'm saying the other funds.
And then if there's excess in the grant money, then we'll worry 6 months from now or something when that has to be spent.
Right.
Exactly.
Oh,
And,
Yes.
and we can talk about this obviously later, but it's 3 years. You have 3 years to spend the money.
Okay.
So we have a lot more time on those ones than we do on
Yeah.
these. We're kind of just moving money around.
Right.
Okay.
gotcha.
Okay.
That's
So,
done, that's done.
So the motion needs to be, so Barbara doesn't kill us. um, that we approve
Excess.
the use of any excess funds over the 45,000 we already committed to be used for apartment rehab.
That sounds good.
Okay,
That's specific.
pretty broad.
Mhm.
And that should cover every red penny of the excess that way.
Mhm.
So moved.
Barbara, did you get that? I hope. I don't think I could say it again. Okay,
I wrote it down.
okay,
Motion to approve use of excess funds over the $45,000 to rehab apartments.
Already committed over the 45, I'm sorry. over
Already
the 40
committed.
Already committed to be used
All right.
for apartment rehab.
okay, okay, perfect. Thank you. All right, may I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? May have a vote on the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Barbara, it was unanimous. Thank you. Okay. Oh, okay. B is actually now moved to June.
June.
Under unfinished business. Yes.
All right, now we're on C.
C. Okay, so in explanation of this, Charlene Peterson, our current commissioner, assumed the position vacated by Mary Beth Thornton, who had been elected our assistant or vice treasurer. And we never formally voted Charlene as vice assistant, whatever, treasurer,
Mhm.
so that we can get Charlene on as signing privileges on the bank statements and
Mhm.
have Mary Beth removed. So that's the backstory.
But I don't think Mary Beth ever went to the bank to get her signature on there.
Okay,
So I think that's kind of mute.
all
But
right,
if we make Charlene, which is fine, then she can go to I'll even go to the bank with her
Oh,
and they can fill that out. No?
no. So if you may, Charlene, you're right across the street in Shelton from TD Bank. I already told them this is happening, so we'll make,
Okay.
and I can go. So I'll take Laurel off and, you and I can go there. I'll email you or call you. We'll just figure out when you want to do it.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
okay. So
Mhm.
I'm going to make a motion. Now, what word are we using? Are we using assistant or vice, or doesn't it matter? Assistant?
Assistant treasurer I have here.
Can I be deputy?
Deputy
Yeah.
treasurer? I don't know.
Sure.
Deputy dog?
I can do it.
We're gonna make you deputy assistant vice treasurer.
Yeah. We'll use every term there is.
Madam.
Okay. I make a motion to elect Charlene Peterson as assistant treasurer for the THA. May I have a second?
I second the motion.
There we go. May I have a vote on the motion? All in favor, say yes.
Aye. Yes.
Aye. Is that everybody? Maureen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I think-
Okay,
Yep.
unanimous. Thank you. Okay, D, discussion of purchasing the copier.
So we have our 7 copier is over 10 years old. It has over 300,000 copies on it. It's nearly out of commission and the parts are no longer available. It's actually making hissing sounds.
Oh.
So a new 7 color and black and white copier costs $3,800. The maintenance on that for black and white is 0.008 per copy. And then for color copy, it's 0.06 per copy. So I immediately called our favorite person, Kevin Bova, and I said, Kevin, who's everyone using for copiers? And he told me that Xerox is now has worked with the town of Trumbull for many years, just about every department, and they're also working with the Trumbull Public Schools for over the last 10 years. So he has a Xerox 7845. This copier was used by the resident assistant at Sacred Heart University. It was kept in a locked room. She's the only one that used it. It already has 7,000 copies on it. It had one service call in the last 4 years. And it's currently in Xerox shop, getting a preventive maintenance check and all the features. So the purchase price for this copier is $3,500. And if we purchased a newer model from Xerox, it'd be $5,000. This one has all the bells and whistles. It's pretty much gonna be on the same maintenance program, if you will, as the town of Trumbull. It can print, it can copy, it can staple, it can fax. It has 4 paper trays. And the good news about it is that we can scan color and we don't have to use our ink for our color printers, and we just copy it right into the new copier. So the charge for maintenance, again, is also less expensive than the Savin. It's 0.005 for black and white. So we're saving 0.003 cents on that, and we're saving a penny to do the color copier. So thank you, Charlene, for all the agreements. She has worked with me on it. We've, talked to the vendors with it. So I would like approval to go ahead and get this.
Do we have the money, by the way?
Well, you'd be over budget, but
no-
you were under budget in other areas. So
Right, but-
certainly,
Yeah, but I looked at it. It doesn't look like we're a lot over budget
right.
for office supplies for this year.
And that will reduce the excess cash, right? Because you're going to buy it this year?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you've already committed somewhere else, but.
Oops.
Yeah, but
I feel like getting some shells with a little ball underneath it. Okay. So anyway, kudos. I think this is lovely. It's like a gently used Subaru or something, It's,
We'll get mileage out of it.
yeah, right. And this is going to be depreciated, I assume, or no? I don't know what our threshold is.
Yes, technically.
So not that much is going to show up in this budget anyway.
Right.
Okay. All things being equal, I make a motion. I'm going to take a privilege here. I think I can make a motion. Actually, Charlene, would you make the motion, please?
Sure. I make a motion to approve the expenditure for a new copier as proposed by Harriet. Do you need a
I'll second
figure?
the motion.
Okay.
Any discussion?
Okay,
Nope.
approved.
so
Okay, congrats. May I have a vote? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous
So-
vote, Robert. Congratulations, the owner of a new.
You're gonna make Heather very happy. She was
So,
very upset today.
there are some, again, there's an acquisition agreement, there's a little maintenance agreement. Laura, is that something that you should sign, or do you want me to just give it to Kathy?
No, I think she has been signing your contracts, right?
Okay, yes.
I'm happy too if Kathy really is incommunicado. I know she is just slammed.
Yeah.
I'll double check with her, but I don't think she's going to mind if I sign on her behalf.
Okay, all
Okay.
right, so you do have it.
Okay. All right.
Next.
All right, where are we?
Food service, 9E.
Okay. Okay,
So,
go ahead.
So I have done everything I can to figure out the best service provider based on what we know. It seems that based on query with other congregate managers in Connecticut, most use Creative Culinary, who are currently used. Some use Glendale, and others have meals provided to them by a church, or use a small local meal provider, or they do it in-house. They hire their own staff. So we have used Jeff Shapiro, owner of Creative Culinary, for many years. We've been very satisfied with their services. We love Freddie. He's our amazing chef. He goes above and beyond for our residents. Over the past years, Jeff Shapiro has not charged us for Mother's Day and Father's Day brunches. I used to have a Harriet's Volunteer Appreciation Breakfast in January for everyone who's volunteered. He did not charge us for that. Or the food for our annual THA picnic and other special events. Our agreement expires on June 1st of this year. So he's willing to reduce the monthly bill by $1,000 in order to help our financial situation. So we would get he would bill us a flat rate of $12,048.75 per month for daily lunch service. Currently we're paying $13,048.75. This would begin the first full month after signing the new contract. All services would stay the same as they currently are. Glendale, we met with them. They could not meet our requirements and they could not match the cost. There's another company called Trio Food Services. They didn't have the staff. They would have to go and hire some people, and that's pretty much what happened. A lot of people who are not based in the Fairfield County area, yeah, they love our business, but that means they have to go out and hire, and the cost would go up, so we can't meet it. So until we have, a better idea, I suggest that we stay with Jeff Shapiro. Again, I went over the contract. Thank you, Charlene, for going over it. And I think we're good.
So I'm clearly loving that we're going to save 12 grand a year.
That's what I said when I heard.
I read that, I was doing like a happy dance.
Yes.
So I do have a question on the contract though, because I think the old contracts has built in $11 a meal. And I'm not sure I saw the new contract, but is that coming out of the contract completely and then just dropping in 36 units times X number?
Well,
I have here.
It was only, I think, $12 a meal, with the 13,000, whatever. This is really $11 a meal, but it's, if you recall, the issue that we had is that for some reason, when Jason and Michelle first started, we had a real hard time trying to figure out why the food service account was A and when it should have been different. And then we cleared all that up. We said, look, we just want one lump sum and then we can do the math ourselves. The good thing is that Daisy will continue to have it full so that, it should be $11.
Okay, so the new contract is $11?
Correct.
I'm confused. Okay.
Okay.
But then that comes out to 12,000 as opposed to 13,000.
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. And it really
Actually,
is,
I'm
we're
reading one
saving
here.
12 grand a year.
I'm sorry. Say it again.
We're saving $12,000 a year.
We're
Right.
saving $12,000 a year.
Okay.
Yes. Well, Jason, yes, because yes.
If we were, when we tie this out to the budget, I did put in about 2,500 in case there were other coffee. Sometimes they charge if they have like little coffee meetings. I don't know if it's meetings. I don't know what they call them. Coffee.
They buy for the bingo. They usually buy.
Yeah, they
the
provide
bingo.
coffee and sometimes they charge for that. So I did build in a little bit towards that. So you won't see it go down 12,000. You'll see it go down like 9,000. Because I just
How much?
So
I put in a little bit just in case. So to
So
speak.
for budget purposes, could that more appropriately be under like a program expense as opposed to standard meal service?
Under rental, I suppose it could be part of.
Just so we sort of know absolutely what our standard meals are costing. And then if you want to build it in somewhere else, if you've got a pocket of money somewhere.
So the extras in there. Yeah.
I'm not objecting to building it in. I'm just saying I'd almost rather the budget be clean for what the meals actually cost us.
Okay.
And then any of the add-ons, I don't care where where it's would fit.
Yeah, and there's room in maybe kitchen supplies to put it in. Doesn't really seem like a kitchen supply thing. It's hard because we don't really have,
Right.
we can't modify the budget template to add our own line. So I have to
Okay,
kind
and
of
it's
fit
already
it.
gone to the state. I'm not don't. Okay, just if you could somewhere in the notes somewhere, just so 6 months from now, because I'm probably not going to remember it. I'm going to look at it and I'm going to go, it's not what I was expecting.
Internally, I could add a line for our internal budgets
Okay,
or our internal reports.
yeah.
That's easier.
Yeah. Okay. It wouldn't fit under wellness anywhere?
Uh,
No,
No?
no, that's, I think, pushing it.
yeah, yeah, that's separate.
Okay.
Yeah, it's congregate, it's under services, so it's a little different.
Okay. All right. Let's put this in the back of our mind for discussion when we get to THC. Because maybe some of
okay.
that money could be expended towards that wellness. If it sounds like wellness might be a nice, little bonus. I don't want to take away from your elevator, never mind.
Yeah, don't. No.
Okay.
Just a major fundraising for that.
I know. Okay.
So,
So did we do a motion? I'm lost. Did we do a motion on the food service? No.
No, we have to
Charlene,
do it.
Comfortable making a motion?
I make a motion to accept the proposed
Food service contract.
from Creative, what's his name? Culinary.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. And do we need any more information on the motion than that, or is that good? It's the current contract that yes? Okay.
Right, 2021. Yeah.
Okay. Motion is made and seconded. Any discussion? No? All right. May I have a vote? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Thank you. Elevator service?
Oh.
so, thank you again. Thank you, Maureen. Thank you, Charlene, for working with me and the elevator people from Cone. So we have a maintenance agreement. Currently, we're paying $260 per month. And now we're going to pay, by the new agreement, we'll be paying a new monthly amount of $240 per month, essentially saving $85 per month. Plus, included in this is connected services, which means that there's going to be a wireless connection so that if something happens to the elevator is going to let the service people at Cone know there's a problem before you even call. And we really need that. That's going to be a 24/7 service. Call outs generally responded within 4 hours unless it's late in the call day. Overtime, if not approved, it'll be addressed the next day. So if, let's say it's, overtime hours, if I don't say, or Daisy doesn't say, okay, you got to come do this, they're not going to do anything until it gets approved. But there is some overtime protection built in the agreement. If we were to place an overtime call and we approved it, we'd only be responsible for the difference in the cost between the normal working hours and the overtime. So we've gone over this. It's a very long, drawn-out agreement. We've had several conversations with our people from Kone. We've met with them. Maureen and I met with them. Charlene has gone over the contract. We've gone back and forth the contract. So I'm very comfortable with this. And again, we're saving money, but not only saving money, we're getting extra value on top of that, which we really need. Can't depend on, you want to know that immediately there's some kind of a blurb somewhere to a technician that says something's going on in the elevator. Now, again, if there's lightning strikes the elevator, or there's a tornado or something like that for the elevator, that's not covered under the maintenance agreement.
It's not covered?
Correct.
Because that's like an act of God or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Wouldn't we have insurance to cover that, like insurance on the property or something?
We tried the insurance for that. Remember, Laura brought that up a while ago, and not for the elevator.
Yeah.
But knock on wood so far. Okay. Charlene, it sounds like you're earning your, 37 cents.
Yes.
Other than that, the contract looked good?
It did. Yeah. I mean, it's mostly boilerplate stuff. We did ask for a couple revisions and he made it. So Yeah.
Okay. All right. Are you comfortable making a motion to approve?
Yeah, when is that one effective? Harriet, do you know?
As soon as we approve it,
Yep,
just kind of a rolling contract, but.
it'll go
they
into
get a
effect,
discount, Yeah.
All right, I make a motion to approve the elevator service contract with Cone
Kone.
Elevator as presented.
I'll second that.
Thank you. By way of discussion, I assume we're saving, part of the reason I think when I read in that is we're paying upfront. That's how we're saving money by prepaying.
They bill us, I believe they bill us quarterly,
Yes.
and
They
that's
bill
not
us.
changed. They bill us
Mhm.
quarterly.
Right.
All right, do we save more by paying the entire thing up front?
Oh,
It looked like we had 4 options, one of which was prepaying in full.
well, this way we know it's paid, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Let me see what I can do with that one.
Yeah, see if you can get him to bring it down. We
Of
prepay.
course.
Well, goodbye overage.
Oh, but no, because when you say overage, this is for the congregants who are actually going to be paid less than what we would budget for. So we're good.
Okay, oh, that's right. I was having the wrong hat on, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, that's, any other discussion? Hearing none?
No.
Call a vote, all in favor? Aye,
Hi.
aye, okay, unanimous?
Aye, yeah.
Okay, G, we already discussed. H, okay, management plan? Is that the budget?
Yes.
Okay. I was looking for a management plan.
I'm sorry. They call it management plans. Budget.
Oh, discussion of service.
It's been a long week and it's only Tuesday.
Oh, it's only Tuesday. God.
So Jason and I have been working on this for a while. We've gone back and forth. What you have is, you have 2 things. You have exactly what is going to be sent to the state. And you also have an Excel recap that pretty much has some call outs of things that, some changes that we made. So if you don't mind, let's do the village first.
Okay. So I put little red notes and thank you for your notes. I understand. But I'm not asking you to change this because I know this has to go to the state. But also just so I was concerned when I saw the assumption of the increase of 40,000 over the prior year. Enough said, but I wasn't sure how realistic that was, unless that we were expecting a lot of new people coming in and therefore higher rents because we're able to charge more. So one question I did have on number 17, is it really realistic to reduce the vacancy losses by 11,000? Are we really able with all the construction to be that much very, very aggressive at the vacancy reduction? That's a lot.
I do know that we've been trending below this for the last, I want to say 6 months of this fiscal period. So a lot of our current vacancy loss has been in the first couple of months with all those units that were held open. So I don't know that there's as much of a reduction as it really seems. It's really in line with the last, especially the last 5 months of the year.
Okay.
It's when you start getting 6 or 7. So is it, and it is right around, it's still kind of worse than your standard. Your goal is a 3% rate. we
Mhm.
still kind of kept you high because we knew you're turning units over and you're going to lose some revenue on that, so to speak. But I think 5% is a realistic goal.
Okay. It just seems like a lot of pressure, you know, to be about 11,000 less. But you're right. If we're trending in the right way, then great.
Right. If you were to stay as is, you would probably be under that. But we know, right, we're trying to still invest in more units, so we think it's going to tick up higher a little bit. But I'm pretty comfortable with that.
Okay. Under advertising and marketing, that's a pretty big jump. Harriet, did you have something in mind? Are you going to be doing more advertising or
Sorry,
something?
where are we?
I'm sorry, line 43.
Ah,
Here we go.
yeah, well, maybe. It depends how many. Right now, we have, I think, 35 applications for the for the vacancy that will be coming for a wait list. I don't know if we might have to open it up again.
Okay.
So I just put it in there just in case.
The
Yeah, it's just-
discussion has been to double because we're going to have this period, and then hopefully this period meaning this summer, right?
And then, right.
To spend this year's, and then we're going to have the names, hopefully the same problem next year around the same time, that we're going to have to open up the wait list again.
Yeah.
The goal is to kind of hopefully stay ahead and have it twice in one period, where hopefully you don't have to keep having to do that every year. But I think you might get hit with 2 this year,
Okay.
this fiscal period.
It's just, as you can see, the budget last time around was only 1,700. And year to date, we've only spent 300 of that. And now we're going up to 2,500. So I just wondered if there was a new, marketing plan or something that we needed the money for.
There is one little nuance, and it's really minor, but I'll say it because you brought it up. Is there some credit checks that are also part of this when you lease that aren't going in? They're going in miscellaneous. And I kind of wanted to keep them with the marketing advertising going forward. That's just not where they were budgeted in the past. It's not a lot. We're talking like $125, but just so you know, I like to try to keep as much out of miscellaneous admin as possible.
Okay.
And I want to move those out of there, but they've been budgeted that way and reported that way in the past. I didn't want to move them mid-period.
Okay.
Excuse me.
And I think they relate a little bit better because they coincide with opening and leasing.
Okay. And then on line 46, why did that go down? I know contractually we've got, go ahead, answer.
The budget was, if we asked last year for a part-time summer help, I still really think it was necessary, but we never pursued that. And I don't think we were pursuing. I think now that research are actually done for this year, Harriet, we had decided we weren't going to try to pursue it for this year either.
Okay, so then does this assume
Inflation.
hmm?
It assumes inflation on actual, so it'll go up about $2,000 from this year hard costs, but it's lower than budget because we're not going to put the 5,000 or so into a part-time person.
Okay. I have another question,
Well-
but I'm going to ask it offline. I'm not going to answer. I'm on that line. I'm not going to ask it here. I'll ask it another time.
So
Go ahead.
based on, my report that we do need some help and I do need to hire, we talked about this, Jason. Is that going to affect that line? To hire a part-time person?
That was maintenance, though, right?
For me, yes. That's right. Never mind. Go ahead. Sorry.
Because go down to line 82, because that's your maintenance payroll, and that's gone
Yes.
down too.
Right. Again, when we budgeted, we didn't know when we were going to pay out the prior person, so we've been
Yeah.
under all year because we took the hit last year.
Right. Okay.
So we're only asking for inflationary.
Charlene, we're actually one person down in maintenance from the prior year.
Oh, okay.
And believe it or not, either I lost, oh, I know, the insurance, you have that going up by $7,000. I don't know what the percentage is, but that increase seems awfully high.
Yeah, I went up a lot last year and we still did poorly. The problem last year, and honestly, we don't have the quotes for this year. I don't know why. Well, I can guess the world as it is the reason, but
Yeah.
the things just seem delayed, but I missed it. And it a little irks me a little bit, but I think it's because everybody got tied off of everybody used to have a shared plan with the state. They kind of did away with that last year, and they're still going to be on that this year. So you're now based on your own experience. And you would think my expectation would have that would have been great for Trumbull because
Right.
they never have claims. Usually you get hurt by the big cities because the big cities are the ones that have all the claims. That didn't pan out this year. So on an abundance of caution, I had to make up for last year's underage and assume we're going to hit with it again this year. And I hope we could do better. But I mean, typically you're part of the state pool. You kind of don't stray from that really. You haven't in years, and every year that I can think of, and this is going with others, is they always do better than you get on your own. And it may change. But I unfortunately, we haven't been able to get the quotes yet. We're promised those any day, but.
Right.
So is it worth getting a quote from a regular agent as opposed to going through the pool, or?
I'd like to see what we're getting. And I did want to, start with caution here rather than say, hey, we promised one thing and look what happened.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. I'm actually treasurer for another organization, and we just lost our insurance. And not necessarily, they don't want to insure our industry anymore. So we can get insurance. They just don't want to play anymore. They must have been hit by terrible losses. That's my guess.
Yeah, housing's not necessarily the best of industries to insure either.
Well,
Slip and
the age of our
falls.
buildings can't be, making them too confident either.
Yeah.
So, okay, good. Thank you for that. I just kind of, when I saw that kind of jump, off the top of my head, it didn't make sense, but it certainly does now. Thank you. I didn't have anything else on this, believe it or not, so. Okay, congregate?
Do you need us to vote on them separately?
Yes, only because it goes to two different people,
Okay,
two different
okay.
states, yeah,
You
organizations.
want a motion?
Please.
Yes, and I'm just FYI, I'm not requesting any changes. I don't know, Maureen or Charlene, if you are, but I am not. Just FYI.
No.
Okay, so you want to make a motion, Charlene?
Sure. I make a motion to approve.
Wait, hold on, Jason.
Well, Maureen's talking, but she's on mute. I wanted to give
Maureen,
her
you're
a
on
chance.
mute.
She's okay. Okay.
Okay,
I make a motion to approve the budget for the village effective 7/1/21 as presented.
I'll second the motion.
thank you. May I take a vote? May I have a vote to approve the motion as presented? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Thank you. Okay. Congregate rental. I'm kind of not feeling like there's a whole lot we can do.
I will say, to add commentary, that if we had a year like this year, we're going to have good budget results. And if I would just base them on that, I am really hesitant to do that because the last 2 years of trends have been a lot worse than this year. meaning you had a lot of unexpected repairs. That's kind of the main way you go sideways. Elevator, you have big ticket items there. More so here than you do at the village, that you can go well, but you can go south pretty easily. Now, good thing is, hopefully, especially after this year of having a season with the new system, that'll eliminate one of the major mechanicals that you're responsible for. And now you're just at the things like, either wear and tear items or your other big ones, which are elevator, which is the biggest, and maybe the generator, food service areas. But my point is I think it's pretty healthy in a normal year. I think, to me, I'm pretty comfortable there that you might even be able to do better.
Okay. Is number, where is it? Is number
Okay.
85 like a pro rata of the contract we just approved?
No, it's the 100%.
But I thought our contract was like 3,800 or something. No.
175 a month.
For the contract we just approved? For Kone?
What's what I was thought.
Oh,
No, we just approved
No.
one.
$240 a month.
Yeah, it's $240 a month for Kone.
Okay, then that's wrong. I would have to.
Did this already go to the state?
This one did not go to
No,
DOH.
You
No.
guys have to approve it. Board has to approve before it goes anywhere.
Okay. So can we change that then to,
Yes. 240 per month then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I would suggest we reduce the heating and cooling. That's a $780 difference. Reducing it out of heating and cooling, with the expectation that I'm hoping that's a little on the high side because it's a new system,
okay.
right?
Maureen
So
and
you're saying-
Charlene, are you okay with that?
I am, I'm just looking at it. Yeah, it seems with the new heating system, we should go down, so.
Then you don't have to monkey around with either reducing something else or raising
Yeah.
income somehow.
Yeah.
Okay,
And for such a small amount.
yeah. On number 97, does the congregate actually have its own insurance policies, or are you doing a pro rata portion of the village policy back to the congregate?
They have their own policies. They are not. Yes is my answer. They're billed separately based on their replacement value. They're on the same, master
Yeah.
plan.
Right, but
Yes.
yeah, it's separate.
Yes.
Okay. And just a point of personal privilege, please change the workmen's compensation to workers' comp.
I did internally, but I wasn't able to do it on these forms.
Okay. Oh, the
I can
state
do
has
it for-
it that way?
Yeah. I could do it for the Excel one.
Okay, thank you. I noticed. Thank you. Okay, anybody else have any questions on, can the two congregates be voted on together, or you need separate motions on each of those?
Together.
They can be voted on together?
Yes, because they're both going to DOH. Yeah.
Okay. If there are no other questions on the rental, can we go to services?
Services.
So Jason, just a question on number, it shows up as line 6 on my spreadsheet, but it's state subsidy congregate core. That's a huge anticipated jump. Is the state change its funding or something?
No, that's basically on tenant turnover. So it depends on your current population. It's going to end up being a good thing going forwards that you have lesser income people than you had a year ago. That was part of the problem. You have less people paying full than you did. You still have a lot for your program type, but it is less than last year. So that'll
this
help.
assumes lower income new tenants with higher state subsidies?
Yes.
Oh,
Hope.
Yeah, so if you, just so you're aware, lines 3 and 6 for both years, if you add them together, they both equal 345,600. It's just in 2021, the residents' share was that much higher
gotcha.
than it is this.
Okay. And then why are you budgeting for lower core services?
Those were additional COVID costs that they gave us, not
okay.
happening again.
Okay, so the 2021 is actually actual, not budgeted?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
I will say actual projected, obviously, through the end of the year.
Okay.
Average
And,
it.
if 8106 went down, but what it's based on went up, how does that work?
It also includes, if you go down to 9001, it includes more than just other items it's based on.
Gotcha.
9001 is Tina, Tina was included in that number.
Gotcha. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. That makes sense.
Just so you're, just as a final, or I guess an overview in anticipation of you asking, there's obviously no total increase because we didn't request an increase. We were able to absorb the biggest troubling area, which is 8108 this year. That's the attendance getting hit with, again, the state's minimum wage requirements.
Yeah.
That's going to continue next year again. We were able to absorb that because of what we discussed in creative culinary's decrease. Without that, we'd be having more difficult decisions here.
Excellent.
I say that as a precursor to next year's conversations. But
is that what's called a funding cliff or something like that? Okay, well, timing's everything.
Yeah.
The Lord giveth and
Take it away.
Okay. So any other discussion on the services budget? No? Okay. Charlene, would you be willing to make a motion?
Sure, I may need help. Motion to approve the proposed management plan and services plan for the congregate effective July 1st.
Okay.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. Any discussion? May I have a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I think it was unanimous. Okay. But that was less painful than you thought, huh?
Yes, thank God.
Let's see. Jay, I think we're down to Jay.
No, we just did that.
We're done.
Oh, so,
Management and services.
oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Adjourning.
Are we done?
I think we're done.
We're
Oh,
done. Thank you.
Bravo.
Everybody. This was a big one.
Okay. Wow.
Hey,
All right,
this was fun.
nobody walked out.
Only 2 hours today.
All right, on to our
Yeah,
next.
but this was a long one.
It was a long one, yeah.
God bless you, Barbara.
That's why she
Amazing.
deserved that award.
Yeah, congratulations again. That
Oh,
was
yeah, yes, wonderful.
nicely done. Nicely done. All right, so are there any other items to come before this body? And if not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Okay,
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to, and I'll second
Effective
that.
immediately.
Okay, so everyone check your email, please, after this meeting.
Okay.
We go right to the next, okay?
All
Okay,
right.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bill
Thank
and
you.
our lovely television
Yes.
lady, have a
Yeah.
good night,
Enjoy.
everybody.
Thanks,
I'll
everybody.
see some of you very
Right.
soon. All right,
Okay.
bye-bye.
Okay.